Welcome to the Everyday Awesome Project, where we bring you inspirational stories and game changing strategies to live your most awesome life. Hey, superstars, welcome back. Polly here.
And Sam Pruitt. What's up, beautiful humans? What's up?
And we are going to just dive right into it. This is the story of Sam, not from a little girl, but your
Not the story of Sam. This is just a moment in the life.
the moment before the journey, the adventure, where you're heading out into a little bit of wilderness, right? So
Yeah.
tell us what you're up to. What's stirring inside of you, this idea that you've had that you're now taking on next week?
Yeah. I am going on my first solo backpacking trip. And for the audience that doesn't know anything about me yet, I'm not really a backpacker. Okay.
You and I did it once.
So, to be clear, I have backpacked once in my life. I am not an expert by any means. It was with two girlfriends, so it was a fun adventure of a couple nights out in the pseudo wilderness. And I'm kind of entranced by it.
Mm.
Like there's a gravitational pull, if you will, not only towards being out in nature, that's obvious because everything else about my life for the last 25 years has been out, trying to seek nature and adventure. But in this instance, with the backpacking specifically, it's about going out solo to do this,
Mm.
moving my body up and down the mountains, along the coastline, through the wilds, animals, bugs, dirt, sun, all the things by myself with everything I need on my back for 5 days. And I specifically chose Catalina Island, the Trans Catalina Trail.
Right. And do you want to start with why do this? Like, is it, I mean, we could talk about the what you're doing, but I'm kind of intrigued.
Nah, yeah, that's not the important part. Even the how is not that important,
Yeah.
Polly.
Yeah.
Like we have discussed many
You're,
times, like,
you're gonna walk. It's a walk. It's like everybody does that. No, but I mean, the backpacking and the tenting and cooking and stuff like that. But yeah, that's for another show. But the why?
yeah, and just kind of precursor to that is I will be sharing this on social. So there will be snippets and videos along the way, including like, what am I packing in the tent and how am I getting there and whatever. So it'll be a really grand adventure that
Mm.
people can follow along, mostly on social, so on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. So check that out, and that will explain a little bit more of the how.
Mhm.
But the why is really why we're here today, right? And my primary why is mental health.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, I'm not looking to get fit or,
Well,
you
so
know,
first thing somebody would just
mental
ask
health.
is what's wrong with your mental health? Like, are you like, do you have a problem? Like, are you depressed or are you, I don't know, are you stressed out? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on with your mental health that you're making this a priority or taking this on?
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah. Why mental health? For me, right now at this junction in my life, approaching very quickly next month, age 56, it's because I invest in my mental health. So it
Mhm.
is an ongoing process. I do not need to wait for a crisis, to
Mhm.
be clear. So I have had many a mental health crisis in my lifetime, and many people I love have had mental health crises around me. So no, I'm not in the middle of a mental health crisis, and I'm not doing this to work through that. What I'm actually doing it for is to invest in my mental health so that I don't have a crisis.
Mm. Mm.
And so sometimes I see some warning signs or life is happening. So for me personally, there's a lot going on. I have a lot of things going on with people that I love. I'm seeing a lot of suffering around me,
Mm.
mental and physical. There's just a lot of things going on in my space on the daily, really. So I feel like a great sense of almost urgency around, caring for others, having awareness, and committing to helping other people who are suffering. And by nature, that generally will empty my bucket
Mm.
relatively quick because of the demands of that. And then simultaneous to that, I'm having this personal health, physical health thing going on that I've been working on. And we've talked about that in a couple past episodes. So it's related to my gut, my autoimmune disease. So I'm having a little bit of a healing crisis in my physical body. And then mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, I'm having this other pretty demanding environment and life right now. So those two things to me, and really it doesn't have to be all of that combined for anybody, but it's enough for me to say, whoa, sister. Now I'm talking to myself, you know, whoa, Sister Sam, like, take care here, take care. This is a lot. And so you need to carve out some time, some space, and work on your mental, emotional, and even spiritual health.
Mm.
So that's what this is about.
Well, I loved how you took us from, you've had mental health breakdowns, let's say, or those crises where, it's sort of like you're running your car at too high an octane, you're just, and then it just crashes, you kill the engine or something, right?
You run out of oil.
Yeah. Like fried, or gas or whatever the analogy is, right? Or metaphor. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
totally.
instead, you're like, okay, have done that.
Hmm.
I've experienced that in my life, led to lots of suffering and pain. And so you have enough awareness now that
Mm.
the way you feel in your body or you and I talk a lot about being the container and the context for having capacity to hold space for people that are going through your brother's, fighting his journey and lots of people in your life that are in their own, warrioring up in their life in ways. And so holding all of that space as you do is such a gift. But if you're not taking care of you, right? Like we can't give to others. So this is like you noticing, oh, okay, I could continue to just give, 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 and then I give from nothing, right? And then
Hmm.
we go into empty and then break down, riding that engine too fast and it just crashes. So,
Yeah, we don't have to wait for the breakdown. I think many of us, I don't want to generalize and say in particular women, but my personal experiences around women in the world, I see this a lot, that they are, have a family life, family of origin life, a professional life, a secondary family, the family they create with the spouse or the kids and the whatever, right? There's just a lot of demands put on these individuals. And at the same time, they have their own needs, and rightfully so,
mm,
right? So sometimes it gets really bad, and this can be anybody, but the demands get really bad and it can get a really dark place before they're willing to take any action. So I guess this is just sort of, let's just put awareness out there for step one, is like, it doesn't have to be henny penny the sky is falling and everything's broken before you decide to do the work. Like, you can decide to put the work in at any point, and we would suggest to self-invest all the way along, irrelevant of what phase you are, in the process of your growth.
great, great. I get,
Okay.
when you started to tell the story of this, solo backpacking, all of a sudden I remembered, and I hadn't thought about this in a long time, but when I was in college, right at graduation, it was like, okay, before, launching into the working world, I completed school a quarter early. So like my friends were still in school and I was like, I just had this damn urge
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
go to Santa Fe.
There you go.
I don't know. And this is before the internet and all that stuff. That's how old we are, right? And I went to the AAA and they mapped it all out for me. And I put my bike in the back of and I headed out like across and I'd never even left the California. I was like, here I go, right? But this solo journey of discover, like there was something, mine wasn't a mental health related, but still I think there's a calling inside of you. Like there's something that is like, I don't know if it's a pull or a nudge or whatever you want to refer to it as. Are you feeling that? I hear you talk about this. That's what it seems like.
Oh yeah, I've been fantasizing about this for a long time. I have a lot of fantasy adventure trips and things in my brain, and I'll slowly chip away at them for sure. This is one of them. So I particularly wanted to do the multi-day backpacking on my own feet, on my own physical body, across mountains, across an island in the middle of the frickin' ocean, for goodness sake, right? With everything that I need on my back. So it will be physically challenging. That's how I like to do things. So there will be a physical challenge element to it. And then there will be this whole self reliance
Mm,
piece of, do I have everything I need? Do I know what the hell I'm doing? Nobody's coming to do this for me. And I'm just out there in the middle of nowhere with no one.
mm,
Sounds wonderful. Whereas I know for plenty of people, that's not going to sound wonderful. So they can pick whatever their way of doing this is. But in particular, you and I agree strongly about these opportunities for growth being solo,
mm,
because We came here all on our own. Sure, we were birthed through a birth canal from our mother. Thank you. But we're solo beings.
Mm,
We're not part of somebody else. There isn't that piece of us that always has to be with someone to feel safe, to
mm.
feel capable, to feel worthy. All of that shit is inside of you. But how will you ever know if you don't show up for yourself and find out what is possible? How will you know?
Yeah, I think, something that you're on the precipice of for me anyway, because I have been, grew up in a three-person family. There was no grandparents, no aunts, it was
No
very,
siblings, no siblings.
no siblings, so it was very small. And then as I moved out of that, it was like me, solo, like no sisters, brothers, all this stuff.
Hmm.
And so I get, the experience I have more so of life is most things are solo.
Mm,
Whereas I know
interesting.
when I hang out with families and I see, like my aunt and uncle have 5 kids and it's just this whole other, it's like a team. It's a family, whereas
Hmm.
mine felt like mom, dad, me, and my dad's passed, whatever. So what I dig is where I can see how people that are so used to a unit, right? Like they're so used to a unit all the way around and taking the responsibilities and the gotcha and asking of things and can you do this or whatever. So like stepping outside of that can be such a big leap or seem so foreign, if you will, right?
Oh, totally. Well, let's talk about why. So, mental health.
Mm,
Okay. But then why do I feel so strongly about this kind of thing? So, one is creating the space, and this is where you were going. So,
mm,
creating the space by yourself,
mm,
space away from roles and responsibilities, okay, or labels or stories or whatever, however you pursue or identify in the world, right? So, stepping away from that. Aloneness allows you to step away from that. Nobody is knocking on the door. Nobody is calling. Nobody's going to be contacting me because my phone will be on airplane mode. Sure, I will create some content so I can share it with all of our people because we so want to fire them up about it. But otherwise, I got nothing. Everybody just figure it out. Okay. And then the same thing about creating a space is like when I think of creating space for myself, besides stepping out of my roles and responsibilities, it's also like I feel like I can breathe. Like
mm,
it opens up a new sense of deep breath oxygen into my brain, into my body, not only physically because I'm out in nature, right? But I mean, like, this is how it feels like there's an
mm,
opening to another layer of myself
mm.
because I'm removed from all of these other things. That's where the freaking magic happens, by the way. Holy hell balls. You want to find out who you are? You be doing this stuff. It's so good. It's so
So,
good. And then another layer of like, oh, I see myself differently now. I'm learning about myself. So therefore, more is possible for me.
mm, mm,
So that opening up of space is radical. This is radical self love,
mm.
radical self compassion.
Yeah. And I think you and I were talking before we hit record about the solitude or the soloness of it, right? I'm going to weave this in a little bit, not go too deep, but that whole area of study that I have done with human design and gene keys, right? It talks about how much we're a little bit like puzzle pieces when we come together. We fill in pieces of each other and we amplify pieces of each other, whatever, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when we spend so much time in that puzzle, like we're connected or hooked up to a unit or a companion or something, as coworkers or whatever, like they fill parts of us that we don't discover for ourselves when I unhook from
Mm.
these other puzzle pieces. I get to see the dimensions of myself without them, without, like you can get into that levels of inquiry of what do I enjoy? Oh, this feels good to me right now. Oh, I think I'm going to do that. Like
Mm-hmm.
untethered to, like I've been I dated a man who had kids and it was like, okay, well, let's go do this. And then it was like, all the shenanigans to get all the people together and the lunches and all that stuff.
Well, and there is a feedback loop
Yeah.
that may or may not be appreciated at the time, by the way, around simple things. What are we going to eat and when are we going to eat?
Mhm.
When are we going to sleep and when are we not going to sleep? Where are we going to go and where are we not going to go? Right. So it's this feedback loop that those other puzzle pieces in your life, of course, we love them. We're not saying there's no negative judgment here, but they have an incredible influence over the way that you operate your daily decisions, your moment by moment decisions. And I started doing these even when I still had young kids at home and I'm a married woman, all that kind of stuff, have my own business, blah, blah, blah. But I would like create space in those instances, generally though it was with other groups of women, but same kind of concept. And I would get away and I'd be like, I can eat whatever the hell I want when I want to eat. Oh, by the way, I don't even want to eat, or I don't feel like cooking, or I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock because I'm freaking tired. I don't care that there's 10 other things that need to happen in the laundry and whatever like, so there's a liberation of self
Mhm.
when people unplug from their current roles and responsibilities. So to me, this is just paramount for mental health. Paramount for mental health.
Well, we're only like a few minutes into this, and I'm already like, I got to go on one. Like, I don't
You're
know.
like, I'm packing my bags as soon as we're done here
Yeah,
and
like,
I'll be leaving.
yeah. The next episode will be Polly's going on a.
Yes, yes, it will be. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about regarding mental health is, and you dropped this into the feed, and I want you to talk about this, changing your environment.
Yeah.
So, changing your physical environment. What does that look like for you? What's that look like for you in the past? You take a lot of solo trips, dude. You do some epic ass shit, like international. I'm just gonna be going to Cambodia now. Bye. Right. So, changing your environment. What is that for you?
Well, I'll give a couple examples. I think the one that is, I've been doing for the last 10 years. So I own a beautiful motorhome. I lived in it three years full time. It was just my joy bus, right? So
It
one of
still
the,
is.
and it's, so that's what I was going to say is that's where this is going is when I'm in my physical home, I have things that I enjoy, but yeah, I have tough phone calls or whatever, I get mentally trapped in something that I can't, it's all in the energy still lives in my home. I get in that bus.
Mm.
It's only ever felt amazing. You know what I mean? So that kind of
It's
shift.
like 50 square feet or something.
Yeah, it's like I just look at it and I go, "Oh my God, I love you." And then I like get inside of it and I'm like, I'm just happier. Like I'll go out there, just to be in it sometimes. Like I once in a while, not very often, but because I sometimes park it on the property, I'll just grab the kitty cats and I'm like, let's just go sleep in the bus, like
Mm.
or I want to like write in the bus or do some work in the bus or color in the bus or something, right? So when
Mhm.
I talk about environments, so we can have places in our, like, I know there's people that, I'm not big on going to the same place multiple times, but some people have a timeshare or a favorite, whatever, cabin that they like to go to because that's their thing. Like my bus is the energy is just different in that space. Now, granted, so I have a big thing about, so there's people in the world and even different categories of ourself, right? On the spectrum of certainty and variety. So if this is a yardstick, you guys, if you can't see me, I'm describing this. There's this yardstick, and on one end of the stick is certainty, and on the other end of the stick is variety, right? And however you want to word those, like certainty, sameness, consistency, routine, variety, different, risky for some people, how they look at it, right? Unsure, uncertain, right?
Yeah.
I have a high need for variety. Like I like newness. I do. So
Mhm.
I go on my trips, it's as soon as like I'm not recognizing things, I'm already like, this is cool. Like as soon as I like go on a road that I've never been, I'm like, this is awesome. Like just my brain just kicks into a new gear. It's like, look at that tree. Oh my God, that's really cool. Like I just went down to Oceanside to visit a friend and I'm on my little scooter and I like just cruising around because I'm like, I don't know Oceanside very well. And then all of a sudden I look over and there's a mission. In California, we have I don't know how many missions, but I'm like, I've never been to that mission before. I like lit up like a firecracker. I was like, and I zoom over there and I check out the garden and I check out the, I was like, is it open? Just like the newness of things. It's like childlike for me. change of scenery. So I'm not a go to the same spot over and over and over again. I mix it up. That's me.
Hmm.
Oh.
I would say that that feeds creativity.
Mm,
And you're such a creative person that that's a food source for you,
mm,
literally for your creative juices. And I know for me also going to new places and exploring them or just being in them, even if I'm not exploring them, I'm just like literally sitting on the top of a rock on a freaking mountaintop or whatever. I'm like, my creative aspect of my mind and my personality and my calling is like bing, 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 bing. All of a sudden, I don't know what the hell is going on, but
yeah.
somehow I'm getting like literally, I call them hits or downloads. Like I'm getting hits. What about this idea? What about this idea? What about? If I'm moving my body, then it's next level. I literally cannot make the notes in my phone fast enough to capture all the ideas that are coming right now. La, 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 la. Like yesterday, I have a whole bunch of notes in here from
So good.
just a 2 hour hike.
So good.
I couldn't stop. It was just like hit after hit after hit after hit.
And I don't know if this is true, but something you said just made me wonder. So, in my study of hypnosis and the mind and NLP and stuff, so we talk about your comfort zone, right? And so your brain is formed and it's just a giant supercomputer, right? It stores all these memories, experiences, blah, 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 all this stuff, like, in the old school data drive, you had this hard disk, right? So it stores all that stuff. And that's the extent of what it knows. It's like, I've been here and I haven't been here. And those are the outer limits, right? And I'm wondering as you were talking, I was like, when we like puncture that little perfect known world that the mind has memorized all these things and it goes boop, it's like, oh, wait, you know, and it didn't kill you, right?
Hmm.
Because the mind
Hmm.
keeps all that stuff safe. So it's
For
like,
safety. Yeah.
stay inside of this, old brain is like, this is safe. We know this. You haven't died in here before,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm.
And then you go out to a new mountaintop or a new destination or something. You're like, oh, we didn't die here. Oh, what's here? And I just wonder if something is about that. I don't know.
Totally. And it's very internal, interestingly enough, which leads me to my next reason,
Oh,
which is all part of mental health, but still it's, I mean, we just call it grounding, right? So it's a real thing to be out in actual nature. There's a great book called The Nature Fix. There's so many books in
mm,
science around this now, around the healing elements of nature, forest bathing, et cetera, et cetera. So look into that if you're about that. But being out in nature with animals and plants, which are also living elements of the
mm,
natural world, which,
mm.
by the way, is what we actually live in, people. Okay.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there's an energy that comes with that, right? And however you perceive plants and animals is your own personal thing, whether you have religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs or whatever. But being out there will shift your energy. So that's a real thing, right? And then additionally, what will shift your energy is being on the ground or having elements of touching and being on nature itself.
Mhm.
So I don't care if you want to lay on the beach and do nothing, or if you want to hike the damn mountain or cross the desert or whatever. But that is also magic.
Mm. Well, one of the things that just remind me of something you just sent me those tapes, the telepathy tapes
Hmm.
episodes, right? And the one I listened to was about this autistic child who was really into stones and talked about how stones have
Hmm.
energy and autism. They pick up on that frequency. And I'm like, our freaking planet is a giant stone. Like it,
Absolutely.
like it has a frequency, right?
Absolutely.
Huge frequency that I would say, some people are a little more ocean driven, like
Hmm.
that. That's the energy or the frequency. Some people are more earth driven, or warmth or cold or whatever. But like it's tapping into a frequency that feels good for you, and I think
Hmm.
and it's a part of I mean, literally we're come from this earth. Like it feeds us, it's a part of us, like it's what makes us.
Wait, you should probably say that again because people have forgotten that. I mean,
It
unfortunately, let's just remind people.
yeah. Like guess
First
what?
of all, you're on an earth.
At the end, you're just that little dust going back into the earth, and then poof, another human comes. You become part of the earth from the food your mom eats and the sunshine that she sits under, and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
this isn't woo woo stuff. This is called science.
I mean, being in nature or being in the ocean or being in water, it's like it's a part
Oh,
of us. It's part of us.
It's a part of us, and it's so powerful.
Mm,
And people, everyone knows what we're talking about because they've all felt this because it's a real thing, but they forget about it and they detach from it and
mm,
they build another life that doesn't involve those things. I live in an incredible valley, the Coachella Valley. It's surrounded by mountains. So I have the luck of, I don't have the ocean, but I do have the luck of like an incredibly vast desert
mhm,
and all of the seasons that go with that. And then these massive mountains, 10,000 feet here, 11,000 feet around me, which are forested and beautiful and snow capped a lot of the year and whatever. So I can be in all of these different environments. But then I'll go into a workspace or places where I talk to people and they have not been on
mm.
those mountaintops. They haven't been in these areas. And I'm like, but you live here.
Ding, 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 ding. Remember?
And how do you not drive to work every day and not see that mountain? Because I'm literally cannot even look at the road. I'm like, hey, what's up? What do we do? Oh, I should go up there next weekend. And what's going on over there? And then I'm thinking about Joshua Tree. What's on the other side there? And you know, I'm
Mm.
drawn. They're literally like calling me. They're like, Sam, come. You haven't been to Joshua Tree lately. You should get over here. That's the Joshua Trees talking to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
somehow people have just like pretend nature's not there.
Yeah, it's like
So
the conditioning, as humans, we forget some of the things we're talking about. But this is our wake-up call. So you're like, hey, I'm doing it. I'm going back into what feels good.
here's the interesting thing about Catalina Island is I'm not really, I lived around the ocean most of my life. Literally grew up at the beach, lived in the beach or near the beach, like where I could get there within minutes. A bulk of my life, which is kind of also hilarious. But the oceans never really called me like that.
Mhm.
The desert does and the mountains do. But in this instance, I've picked an island that's floating in the middle of the ocean. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to be for me. And I'm actually looking forward to it. And most of the campsites are actually on the ocean, they're literally like they're on the beach. So it'll be really fun to like hear the ocean again and smell it and feel its moisture and, its ions and all the kind of cool stuff and think about the aquatic life that's out there. Hopefully that won't give me weird dreams. I do have a
And
lot of dreams.
so I just so people can picture, and maybe you don't even know, but I know that there's campsites that you're going to. So
Mhm.
there are probably going to be some other people at some point, but a lot of, when I think of Catalina first, I think of like, oh, it's the town, like there's I forget what the name of the town.
Oh, Avalon. Yeah,
Avalon,
that's
yeah.
just the port.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's like that part of it. But then there's all this nature part of it, right? So,
Oh, yeah. Wild foxes. There's a rare fox that's only on that island, which is super cool.
uh,
And there's a lot of them. And there is bison. So there's
mm,
actually quite a few bison, and you do have to be very careful because they will go right on the trail, and they are very interested in just hanging out there and giving you looks and not interested in what you're up to. So you have to leave the trail and go all the way around them. They're very dangerous, so you have to be careful. But
mhm.
yeah, there's cool like wildlife. I'm going the length of the island, hence the 40-mile trip. I'm not just going to the port and camping there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am taking the 35-pound backpack and going up and over the entire ridgeline, mountain line of this island. And then
Wow.
I come down every night to a campsite on a different beach
Wow.
until I get all the way to the end of the island. And then,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, one of the things we talked about is, some people could do, a getaway, could be, oh, you go to Las Vegas or you go to San Diego or something like that. You could do that solo. So,
Totally, totally,
and
totally.
so what would you say if somebody's like, well, I really don't get the backpacking thing. I'm not going to do it. What about a mental health retreat if they wanted to be somewhere a little more cozy or, comfortable then?
Well, I'll tell you about a really radical one I did one time during the pandemic,
Um,
which was basically my 14-day quarantine in Australia during the middle of the pandemic, where I was locked in a hotel room for 14 days with no windows that would open. I could see out, but no windows would open. And I could not enter the doorway, never mind leave the doorway. So, like, the door could only be opened if things were delivered to me, and I could not exit the doorway. So, I mean, there's one way of doing it. There's a lot of different ways that you can go in,
Yeah.
retreat inward, back into yourself to have deeper conversations. I'm not here to tell anybody that they should throw the backpack on and do the thing. I love that for a multitude of reasons that we're speaking about.
Mhm.
But however they want to version that, they can version that. It's fine by me. Look at what some of the things you've done. I mean, you've done incredible things also, very solo
Mhm.
internal experience. Maybe you want to share one or two of those.
I was going to ask you, so one of the things you had someone reach out to you, and it was beautiful that all the people that are like, "What are you doing? What's going on?" There's this stirring in your social following, right?
Hmm.
So someone had asked you, like, what are your questions? Like one of the things I'm sure somebody's asking is like, what do you do on this solo thing? Like, are you like just looking at your navel? Or are
Are
you
you bored?
watching TV? What are you doing? Like like how do you what do you do? Like what's happening? And maybe the
Yeah,
specifics are like, what's the questions? Your friend asked you, like, what are you asking yourself as you're on this trip? You know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just a side note, but it's also hilarious because you just reminded me. So I was 14 days locked in that hotel room in Australia in the middle of the pandemic. I never turned on the TV.
Yeah.
And by the way, I never got bored.
Yeah.
24 hours a day with myself only for 14 days. So that is a big fear that people have. It's like, will I get bored? Will I like what I'm hearing
Mm,
inside my head? Will it be emotionally painful for me? Will I be lonely?
mm,
Will I feel lost? I mean, these are really the questions that people grapple with when they think about being alone,
mm,
period,
mm,
at any point in their day, never mind on stuff like this. And I mean, I just want to impart that there's nothing scary about it. So we shouldn't be scared of ourselves, of our own internal voice, of the thoughts and the emotions and the ideas that come up. We shouldn't be afraid of them. They're part of us. And truly, what I believe is that you release them and you process them through this experience. That's why I also like to add sweating in the process. Like the physical element for me helps to pull it out and
mm,
to allow me to process it.
mm,
Believe me, I got to climb 10,000 feet of elevation gain in the course of this journey with 35 pounds on my back. So there will be some huffing and puffing and sweating and some effort, and it's a full body experience. So
mm,
for me, that adds to the allowance, the freedom, the liberation of these trapped ideas and emotions. And I'm not saying they're all bad. Part of me is there because I have a creative project I'm working on and I want to continue to work on, and I actually want to put a light a
mm,
fire under it. So I
mm,
want to release some of those other things. So to me, that whole process um, is so critical to our existence,
mm.
and we don't want people to be afraid of it, do we?
I was just gonna say, like, I don't think, yeah, we do a lot to avoid a feeling or
Mhm.
feeling the feelings that we think we can't
Handle.
we can't take, right? And I was like, so if you get bored, be bored.
Hmm.
Like, okay, just like, guess what? You're not going to be bored for the rest of your life. It's not going to stick on you, right? It's
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm bored, right? Or you're lonely. Okay, well, be lonely for a little bit. Just like
Hmm.
notice, whatever. The other thing I was going to say is, and I hadn't thought about this in a while because it's been a while since I've been like out there, is how quiet it gets in the mind.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's really quiet when you've thought all the thoughts, you've processed all the, and I
Oh,
look at it.
you feel light,
Yeah,
don't
well,
you?
and it's just like there's a freedom of mind. There's not a having to, gotta remember this or to time schedule, whatever. It's like the mind's like, huh, what we're doing today?
Hmm.
It's just like a fertile garden playground, if you will.
One of the reasons I was always drawn to trail running and in particular ultra running is because you basically couldn't think about anything else except surviving the next mile. And
Mm,
so that was literally like, I have to put one foot in front of the other and continue this methodical, meditative pace, and then at the same time, am I drinking enough? Am I eating enough? It was very like self care, self nurturing, self reliance. That's
mhm.
it. The rest of the world
Jinx.
literally drops away for those 100 miles. You're like, I have no clue what's happening anywhere in the world, and I don't care. I don't give a shit. It means none of that means anything to me. It's so good. And I think this is just like an extension of that at a
Yeah.
slower pace that will allow me, dialing down the intensity, that will allow me a lot more
Mm,
time to move through ideas and thoughts and emotions and open up that
mm,
creativity as well.
sure. And I can't wait. I mean, you're already creative, so coming back with even like look out, guys. I'm not sure what the episodes are going to be like for the
Ah,
next ones, but they're going to be inspired by this. So,
let's tell people how they can do it because I do believe this is going to resonate with a lot of people. And
hmm,
I do hope they follow my journey and they'll see everything. I share everything. It's like I have nothing to hide. I really don't. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy as hell. Who cares? But I'm happy to share, but I want to really inspire other people to consider this for them. So how would they go about that? What could that look like? Next
yeah,
steps.
yeah. Well, for an RVer, if that were me, it's getting in an RV. So I was just going to share, when I did one of my trips, it was like no reservations, no plans, no destiny. I was kind of like, I'm just going to go north. Like I was sort of like drawn towards Washington, from California. I was like, just going north and didn't have to get there at a certain time, didn't have, all this stuff. And so freeing. Now, not to say that that's how you start it for everyone, right? You might have something that inspires you. Like I was pulled to Santa Fe. Like, what the hell? I got to Santa Fe. I was like, looked around and went, okay, clearly it's not for me anyway at the time. This was way before Santa Fe like took off and became this whatever. I was just like, okay, so this is Santa Fe. I was like, yeah, I think it was about the journey because it's not about the destination because I wasn't somewhere I wanted to live or hang out for very long. But so maybe there's a calling that someone has. How about you? How are you doing this? What are you doing?
Yeah, and I kind of think of it also as a sabbatical. So some
Mhm.
people are familiar with that, like whether you're a teacher and that's sort of you have summers off or whatever the heck the thing is. Um, with the alliance that you're building, and you should briefly talk about that too, there is going to be some intention to that community and that program that you're developing. And I'm thrilled to be part of it. Like that can look different for anybody, what brings them to that. It starts with the curiosity, right? But some people identify with that whole kind of sabbatical, which is like, I'm going to give my brain a rest and I'm going to do something creative or think about something different. Some people see it as a rest, as a recovery, as a way to bring themselves back down into maybe first gear or something like that, physically and mentally. And for other people, it's the opposite. The calling is towards like, I need to get up and go. I
Mm,
need to be upping my game into lighting a fire under my ass and making some changes. One of the people that reached out to me is very much in a place of like, what am I doing with my life? What is this shitty job sitting in a cubicle selling these things and blah, 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 whatever? Like, this is a hell no. How did I even get here? Trapped in this thing, right? And so for them, it's very much like, I need to do this and I need some support around it. And that's what this program and alliance is going to be about,
mm,
getting out of this. So
mm,
I can't, I need to give myself permission. I need support around planning it. I need support around structuring it. I need some coaching around, and maybe even facilitation
mhm,
and resources around making this happen. I want this,
mm,
right?
mm.
So theirs is more like fire under the ass, if you will, whereas the other people are like, I need to settle the hell down.
Yeah, I need to, it's a push or a pull, right? Like they're
Will
going
we say
away.
fired up or fed up? Which one is it?
Totally, totally. And
Yeah.
it's true, there's a lot. So, it's that old analogy of you can boil a frog, because they just sort of like get into the norm and the heat just gets a little bit more and more and more. And what you're doing with yourself is you're like noticing, hey, it's getting a little hot in here.
Mm-hmm.
Got some upset in my digestion. I'm taking care of a lot of people, holding a lot of space for people. My own well-being, your thermostat, you can already tell, right? And so the boiling the frogs, guys, in case you don't know it, so if you throw a frog into boiling water, it jumps out, but if you slowly boil it, it doesn't jump out, it doesn't know. So, where in your life are you just like that settling, has just like gotten more and more muck, you feel so detached from why am I doing this? Does this even matter? I'm supposed to be doing something else, right? And so people just either tune that out for so long. I say our soul, mine anyway. Sorry, let me speak from first person. My soul is like it's like, nope, can't keep doing this, you know? So I have a short fuse on that muffling, that I can't keep it down. And it's discovering, you know, what one of the things I do is I go fast forward into that life if I keep doing this, and I
Mm.
make it worse. And like I just did this yesterday. Like I was doing there's a process where you teach the mind or you condition the mind briefly. You don't have to do this for like a while, but you just show it. If we keep living like this in 10 years, how bad could it get? You know, and you know, like how bad could you feel like pulling away from your soul, like what's lighting you up? You're just like giving away so much trapped in this, right?
Well, and a lot of my work with humans is around health and fitness. Not all of it, a lot of it's business too, but like in the health and fitness space, they're like, a year from now, a year from now, what will be happening in that physical and emotional body?
Won't do something.
Damn.
Yeah, if you don't do something.
Okay. You don't have 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years is full disease state, and you
Mhm,
may or may not come back.
mhm,
Hello, a year from now, what's that body and brain going to look like?
mhm.
Not liking that? Okay, cool. But here's the cool thing. Like, I mean, 90 days from now, do you have any idea how much better this can be? Like, give me 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Boom.
Mhm.
So this is like taking a moment, whether it's a day or a weekend, but we're really prescribing something longer, ideally. Everybody gets vacation time, we hope, to some extent. It can look different for everybody. And this doesn't even have to cost money. We're
Mhm,
not saying you have to have money to do these things,
mhm.
right? You can just literally do a lot of these kind of things, honestly, for free if you're creative, and we can help you unpack that, whatever your resources are, help you figure that stuff out. But you need more than a day. You need
Mm,
more than a couple days. You
definitely.
know, I mean, by day 3, especially for me out in the wilderness, you know, like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm pretty sure I leave my body. That's what it feels like. So I'm just going to confess that right now. I'm pretty sure I leave my body. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know.
Aw.
I just am not
Mhm.
woo woo enough to really know what the hell that is all about. But I feel like my weight, I feel light.
Mm,
I feel like, oh my God, it's just incredible. It's incredible. And the problem is then you come back into life and you know, but you come back a different person.
yeah, your container
So you
has
do.
shifted. Yeah, your container has shifted, you know? I was gonna say you're empty, but you're also you've shifted your container, right? That puzzle
Yeah.
piece that you are, you're more clear what it is, and so sometimes it doesn't fit in with the other puzzle pieces that you've been hanging out with, you too, you know, or the
Well, a lot of times you come back and you've made some radical decisions, right? And I will be
You hope.
journaling and writing and doing some stuff. Yeah. And they can be not radical decision. They can be radical decisions about I need to make a decision about this thing and I need the time and the space to do that. So off I go. Or it can be not necessarily a decision, but just a shift in operating systems. Like I come back and I've had a reboot in my operating system. So when I come back into the space, I just see it differently, including the humans.
Mhm,
And so I have all of a sudden I have solutions and I have more compassion and I have a different creative energy and whatever. Like there's just a shift, right?
mhm.
So good. So
So,
good, dude.
okay, well, we're gonna be talking about mine
I'm
next.
off to na, 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 na.
It's
So
okay.
follow along. It's going to be a trip, literally.
And it's next week, right? You're going next week?
Yeah, so I'm gonna leaving next week. I'll be boarding the ferry on the 17th,
Okay.
crossing the Pacific Ocean to Catalina Island.
Mm,
Yeah.
so good. And everybody's gonna be fine. You know what? The house is gonna be good. The
Oh,
family,
yeah. I'm
all the
not worried about it.
everything's gonna be right where you left it. So
Well, I hope not. I hope I come back and they move some shit around. Okay.
we oh, they've had their own solo journey. They just haven't left, but they had that opportunity, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good for everybody else not to see me for a while.
So what's our one thing? What's one thing you wanna share with people or ask people or leave people with
I
about
mean, my one thing is you don't need anybody's permission.
mm,
You just don't. Okay. You
yeah,
just don't.
right.
That's my one thing.
Just do
I
it.
didn't ask anybody if I could do this.
Mm.
A lot of people ask me, "Oh, what does this person think about it?" And this, and I'm like, "I don't know. Go ask them. What the hell are you asking me for?"
Be
Like,
telling you what I'm doing with my life now.
yeah. And what are you insinuating that I needed to like go to them and ask for permission to be my best self? Do I need to ask someone permission to be my best self? I'm pretty sure I don't. No.
Well, some of the people that know you or that know you well, at least I'm wondering who they're saying, are you asking? They've seen you do this before and they know you come back, like you said, a different person, better person, feeling refreshed and renewed. It's like, yeah, go do that. Yep, go do it.
Yeah, I've done other versions of this. I've never done the 5-day solo backpack. So that is yet a new adventure in the life of Sam Pruitt.
Need for variety. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, so,
Totally.
so good. All right, my sister. Well, I can't wait to hear when you get back all about it, and we'll follow you on social. So let's remind our humans what do they want to keep in mind as we're on.
Yeah. How your life feels is more important than how it looks.
Mm. And every day is your opportunity to find your awesome.
So go find it.
Yeah.